The Wizards fall to the Grizzlies tonight, 103-97, without Bradley Beal in the lineup, mind you. Let's talk about that, the lineups, and our takeaways from the game next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again with my guy, the real Ed Oliver. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. And today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. So, tonight, who impressed you more, the bench or the starters?
Oh, definitely the bench. I thought Jordan Goodwin put his butt off tonight. He was, I know we don't want to take too much stock in plus minus, but he was a plus 12 tonight, 9 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. He wasn't shy to go up against Ja Morant. I thought he did a heck of a job against Ja Morant. He plucked him a couple times. He took a charge out there. He scored on Ja Morant as well. He was a part of the big comeback that we had. We were down by 23 points at one point. The lineup was him. Rui was in there. Will Barton was in there. I wrote down the lineup. I think KP was in there and Kuz was in there. Rui. That was the best lineup of the night. Most of the bench. Gaff. It was Gaff, Jordan Goodwin, Rui, Will Barton, and Kuzma was in there at that time when they came back. And Jordan Goodwin, for him to be, playing in the G League last year, to get a call up, didn't play much in the first 8 games of the year. For him to get more playing time and to show out like this, undrafted guy. And Jordan Goodwin, man, to play like a bulldog out there, get some steals and deflections, rebounds, assists, taking charges. He deserves more playing time. I really want to see this guy get more playing time. I really hope they reward him. Honestly, he got into the paint more than Monte Morris tonight. I thought Monte Morris had a better game scoring wise, but I just think with this offense, what this team needs, with missing DeLon Wright, I think he is a guy who's disruptive, gets deflections, and they need more scrappy guys like Jordan Goodwin. And he showed out. He was the big positive takeaway that I had from this game. If there's a positive takeaway to take from this game, even though it was a winnable game, I thought Jordan Goodwin definitely showed. So tomorrow night against Charlotte, I really want to see this guy play a lot. And if Monte can't get into the paint and he's not able to get stops on defense, then later down the line before DeLon gets back, we might have to evaluate. West should evaluate who closes games and some of these rotations more at the point guard spot.
Oh, absolutely. Jordan Goodwin was playing great tonight. I mean, I know it's only 9 points, but like you said, the rebounds, the assists, the steals, that steal he got on Ja. I mean, that was a good steal. He played well tonight. And that was one of my takeaways from this game is that he needs more minutes. What's this really was to Davis? Because, as you know, Davis is in the go-go right now. With Goodwin playing, Davis might be in the go-go for a minute. So, I was very impressed with what I saw from Jordan Goodwin. The bench, like you said, that fourth quarter, Goodwin and Barton really spearheaded to keep us into the game. That fourth quarter kept us in the game. Because at one point I was like, man, here we go. We're down by 20-some points. And I was already like, oh, man, here we go. We're going to get blown out again. But that fourth quarter, I mean, Goodwin showed his value. I mean, very impressed. The starters, Monte Morris did pitch in 16 points, but, not driving the lane. His shot was better, but 1 assist. So, starting point guard, 1 assist. I don't know what to think about that. Kisper, 6 points. Denny, 4. And Kuz and KP, 2 members of the solid 3. Very underwhelming. KP overall was 3 from 13, 1 for 6 from 3-point shot. So, wasn't their best night. But, again, this shows you the value of depth. The bench came out to play tonight. Gaff looked a lot better tonight. So, hey, even with the off night from the starters, it was good to see this team, not only the bench take charge, but resiliency. I was looking at the comment and somebody mentioned that resiliency. This team showed resiliency. They didn't put their heads down when they were down by 20. They fought their way back. And that's what you want to see from this team, especially without our franchise player. As you know, Bradley Beal was out due to COVID protocols. So, no, I love what I saw.
Yeah, and I know Jaw went out for about a quarter. It was that third quarter when they came back. They cut it to 2 at one point. It was 74-76. Something that bit them in the behind or bit them going into the fourth quarter was giving up offensive rebounds. Steven Adams came back in towards the end, and they just couldn't rebound. Brandon Clark got a couple offensive rebounds too. And Desmond Bain knocked down a three. It was Desmond Bain who knocked down a backbreaker three down the stretch in the fourth quarter when they really needed a rebound. They just couldn't get them. And the Wizards, they're just a poor three-point shooting team. That's one of my concerns going into the season. They settle for threes. Kuzma, they were open shots, but Kuzma took some threes and he didn't make them. Porzingis settled for threes. They were open shots. They're shots that Porzingis has been making throughout the year, but they just weren't falling tonight. If they're not falling, you got to get to the basket because the Wizards were getting to the basket. That's our bread and butter. We're just a paint. We're scoring. We're one of the better teams in scoring in the paint. I think we're second in the league in scoring in the paint, points in the paint. We have 56. The Grizzlies have 52. Of course, they're one of the top teams scoring in the paint because of Ja. He's just relentless. He's so athletic and his athleticism is just off the charts. But yeah, we just went away from what worked. We were settling for threes. Monte missed a wide open 3-2. We're just not a good 3-point shooting team. So that really hurt us down the stretch. And I really want to see us take it to the basket more. I would love for us to shoot more threes in an analytical world in the way the game is being played today. But we're just not a good 3-point shooting team. And I think if we do have an identity, it's not shooting threes. So we need to get to the basket and go back to our bread and butter. Maybe Porzingis posting up a little bit more down the stretch instead of just settling for threes would have helped. But yeah, like you said, Kuz and KP, not their best night tonight. Kuz had 12 and 11. He had a double-double, so he did other things, but he was 2 for 9 from the three-point line, 5 for 14 from the field. And Porzingis was 3 for 13 from the field and had 10 points. And how many rebounds did he have? He had 4 rebounds. So I want to see him rebound the ball more and get to the basket more.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree. But before we get into my takeaways for the game, tonight's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. How does it work? You pick 2 to 5 players, and if they go and score more or less than their Prize Picks projection, you can win up to 10 times your money on any entry. Got some bread tonight. No competing against other people. It's just you versus the projections available. Prize Picks offers projections on any sport that you can watch. It includes the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL, PGA Golf, college basketball, women's college basketball, college football, soccer, the WNBA, esports, NASCAR, tennis, MMA, boxing, disc golf, Euro basketball, cricket, and more. Entries can be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Safe and fast withdrawals. Currently operational in over 30 states and Canada. Download the PrizePicks app or go to prizepicks.com to sign up and play daily fantasy sports. First-time users can receive 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with a promo code Locked On. If you deposit $100, PrizePicks will give you $100. If you deposit $50, PrizePicks will give you $50. Don't forget to enter promo code Locked On. That's sign up for an instant deposit match up to $100. Locked On Wizards, your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. The biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and a take of the day. Available on Odyssey app, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. So, takeaways from the game. For me, you already hit one nail right on the head. Jordan Goodwin need more minutes. I mean, he looked good. He's really a breath of fresh air, because, Johnny Davis struggling. That backup guard position was kind of, with Kispert come back, still trying to find a rotation. So I think that with Goodwin coming in playing well, it kind of makes one area of, West's job a lot easier, in my opinion. But another thing for a takeaway from the game, I noticed, and this is really a season thing, Rui can tend to be a black hole. When he gets the ball, very often than not, he's going to shoot the ball. And I kind of want to see, him kind of look for other shooters because, he's played well. And defense is going to start teeing on and, to really focus on him. So he has to take advantage of open shooters. So that was one takeaway. I know it's a lot with the ball tonight. Rui he tends to turn into a black hole, So I'd like to see a lot more passing out of him. But overall, look, 15 points. Rui has been playing very well this season. I already talked about Goodwin and Barton. The open threes, you got to hit those. We are not a good three-point shooting team, but it's no excuse to miss wide open three-point shots. I mean, time and again, you got to hit those. So, I mean, 3-point shooting has just been horrendous this season. So, those are my takeaways. One more thing I'm going to add, fast break points. Memphis out-hustled us, 22 points compared to 8. This is another thing that we bring up a lot. Keys to victory is controlling how fast the team goes. A lot of these teams, like Memphis Grizzlies, can push the pace. John Morant is an athletic freak. He can run with the best of them. So, that was another area that I think we need to improve on. What you got?
I like the way Rui played. I do like his aggressiveness. I know he's not his forte is not passing the ball. He does need to work on his vision. But I love the aggressiveness. He didn't settle. He would pump fake and get to the basket. He had an and one put back. He had a nice pump fake in the mid range game. Was working for him tonight. He was 7 for 12 from the field, so he shot over 50%. 1 for 3 from the 3-point line. So I like Rui was a part of the comeback. So I like what Rui did tonight. Denny struggled from the floor tonight. He did other things though. 10 boards, was a minus 16, 4 points, 2 assists. But he was 0 for 5 from the 3-point line. He really has to work on that 3-point shot. I know his scouting report coming out of overseas. Shooting's not his thing. That's not his forte. That's something that he was trying to work on this offseason with Drew Hanlon. But he's still struggling to shoot from the 3-point line. He faded away on a jumper in the paint. Wasn't a big fan of that. Like we talked about the behind the back. Just has to work on finishing in the paint, finishing through contact. It's just one of his weaknesses. He has to work on it in his game. Corey Kispert, his second game back, 0 for 3 from the 3-point line. But he did a good job moving without the ball. And he scored. He had 6 points. But defensively, they were kind of targeting him a little bit. So I see why West didn't play him. But West kind of dropped the ball a little bit tonight too, man. He should have went with the hot hand with the guys like Will. He took Will out. And I thought he should have kept Rui in it. Rui, Will. Jordan Goodwin, the lineup that came back, he should have just rolled them out, honestly, and just let them play the rest of the game because you got to go with what's working. I know the guys needed a breather, but he definitely should have went with that lineup to finish throughout the game, to be honest with you. Jordan Goodwin, Kuz, Will Barton, Gaff, and I think it was Kuz in there as well. Those guys were really leading that comeback and gave the Wizards a chance, and I think West taking those guys out, it just hurt the Wizards in the end for sure. So definitely another learning experience from Wes Unseld. And this is probably one of Will Barton's better games. I thought he got hot, 12 points, 5 assists, and 4 boards. And him and Gaff, they have a nice dynamic duo. We've definitely given Gaff a tough time because he hasn't played well for the most part this year. He's been really up and down. It's been a roller coaster ride for him. But he played a lot better tonight. So I got to give Gaff, especially after last game where he kind of, it was a SportsCenter top 10 moment for Kevin Durant. It was a Shaq and the Fool moment for Gafford. And I thought he responded really well. He had a short memory, didn't let that go to his head. And he had a couple dunks tonight and played with energy. And he played strong and he caught the ball, which we've seen him bobble a basketball and kind of just, be kind of just a little disoriented at times. So, I got to give Gafford his props.
Yeah, absolutely. Gaff responded tonight. Like you said, he definitely responded. Wasn't his highest moment the last game, but it happens, man. It happens to the best of. I mean, he really responded. I mean, Gaff, that dunk, man. He rolled through and got that dunk. I was like, come on, that's Gaff, man. So the bench showed why depth is definitely a good thing. We have the depth. We said in off season that when you have guys who can play, they're in the G League. That's depth. Jordan Goodwin showed that, the G League is not what it used to be. It used to be like purgatory for players. Now it's an opportunity to get minutes and really improve. And that's why I think that Johnny Davis going out to the go-go is a good thing for him because he can get that playing minutes that he needs. And I think he's going to respond and be a good player. So Jordan Goodwin, I mean, wow. I mean, like I said, it's only 9 points, but, DeLon coming back, you got 3 guys who, it's a tough decision for Wes because I think that Jordan Goodwin needs to stay on the roster. I think he's shown enough that he can contribute. Now, Monte, like I said, let's take a look here. 16 points, did better from the offensive end, but like I said, 1 assist. He hasn't been very consistent this season. Either he has a scoring night where he's not dishing the ball or he's dishing the ball, he's not having a good scoring night. So, again, Monte's the man for right now, but could be subject to change going forward, especially with DeLon Wright coming back. But no, I mean, to lose by only 6 to the Memphis Grizzlies they're a good team. They're a team that's trying to challenge the West. So I'm optimistic. Only 6 points. They came back. They showed some heart. So you can't really be mad at that. So that's my takeaways. So before we roll, tomorrow night is the second of a back-to-back in the Queen City in Charlotte against the Charlotte Hornets. So before we roll, what one Hornet? What's up?
You want to read a couple? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. That was just
that's on me. Yeah. What Hornets player really keeps you up at night with this upcoming game?
Rozier's a Wizards killer, man. I got to look at their box score from the last game, but Terry Rozier, man, he just whenever he sees it. Last year he did a sham god move, and like he turns into I'm not gonna say it looks like Michael Jordan, who's their GM or a partial owner, but Terry Rozier, man, he gives the Wizards some problems, man. He really does. There's a lot of guys on that team too. Dennis Smith Jr., he might play tomorrow night, and he's very concerning too because he's super athletic and he's going to be tough to stay in front of too. Kelly Oubre Jr., the former Wizard too. He concerns me a little bit too.
Yeah, it's a young team. It's just like the Pistons and the Pacers. This is a young team that's hungry. They're in the same situation we are. Obviously they have a player that's dealing with off-court issues, but they're a young team who could humble us. I think it's a very winnable game. But I think the point guard position is the area that I want to see the most effort from. Because like you said, with Melo, with Dennis Smith, with Terry Rozier, they're going to test this backcourt for us. And we don't know yet if Brad's going to play. I don't know if we got any news yet on him clearing safety protocols, but this backcourt's going to have to respond. Monte's got to step it up, in my opinion. But again, good win tonight, good win. So we're going to step into some comments from y'all. Let's get into it. Let's see here. Oh,
yeah, Kevin Quinn. So I'm glad West sent Davis to the G League and kept Goodwin. That was a great move. He was in Ja's face all game. Yeah, Johnny Davis had a good game today. I want to look at his numbers. He was 6 for 7 from the field. The first game was rough for the Go-Go. He was 3 for 13. The second game was a lot better. He had 3 blocks. So I saw some of the highlights. I was watching some of it as well. I really like what Chris Dunn did in the Go-Go game. I love what Quentin Jackson had, some electric dunks in that first game. We'll probably talk about the G League a little bit more tomorrow or another time. But some guys showed some flat. I really want them to call up Chris Dunn, honestly. I want to see Quentin Jackson play a little bit this year too. But I'm encouraged by what Johnny Davis did in the Go-Go today against the Raptors 905.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I saw the highlights there. And Johnny really showed improvement. The shot, the shot's going to drop. He struggled, but like I said, I like Johnny. I'm not going to quit on him yet. Let's see. Big Stevie says you pulled the players that were hot and you got your lead to go with the starters that were cold. Yeah, the rotations. I think West has to improve on his rotations. He's struggled with that. Now the lineup that you brought up, E, with that fourth quarter, I think was a good lineup. That was a lineup that really took advantage. They, with Ja being out in that fourth quarter, they took advantage of that because it was noticeable. Ja he is such an important part of the offense where it's noticeable. There's a noticeable drop when he's out the lineup. So I definitely agree.
Definitely, yeah. I thought he should have rolled with the guys who were playing well. That's what you got to do sometimes. You got to have a feel of the game. I thought Jordan Goodwin was playing well. Will Barton was playing well. Gaff and Rui, and he's had those guys there. I know he wanted to give him a breather, but I think they definitely should have played a little bit more down the stretch. Ben says Goodwin might need to start over Monte Morris. He's competitive and not scared to defend. The defense he played well on Ja was beautiful.
Absolutely. Hey, I agree. You may have to take a look at him and being a starter because he showed enough defensively and his tenacity. Why not? Monte was brought in for that position, but it's not cemented. He has not shown right. You know what I mean? He hasn't shown he's that guy. So why not? Maybe a lot of fire on the Monte. So
yeah. No, I'm with you. This is the thing last year. Like Dinwiddie should have got benched, honestly. And I feel like, hey, that's the thing with West. He takes too long to make adjustments, and that may be the adjustment they need to make. Like DeLon Wright, we were talking about DeLon Wright should be starting, honestly. Yeah. Or it doesn't even matter who starts, but I guess who finishes the game or who gets more playing time. But maybe Jordan Goodwin needs to start to provide a spark. They did start off hot. We were up 9-0 to start the game. And then John Morant woke up. They put some of the bench guys in and they just went crazy. And then the bench guys brought us back. But yeah, honestly, I would start Jordan Goodwin. I think Wes should be trying to do anything. I'm not saying he's fighting for his job right now because I don't think they would fire him at the end of the year, even if it is warranted. Like let's say we go 32-50. I think they should evaluate Wes Unseld Jr.'s job at the end of the year for sure. But yeah, Jordan Goodwin, man, I wouldn't mind starting him. I really wouldn't mind starting him. I think they need to go with players who are playing well rather than the name on the back of the jersey, just like Taj Gibson. We're playing for the name on the front, or guys that you have relationships with, the Nuggets or whoever or whenever. But Jordan Goodwin played his butt off tonight. I think he needs to be rewarded. So we'll see how he plays tomorrow night against Charlotte. Like I said, I like Monte Morris, but he doesn't put pressure on the defense, and he's not defending well either. So Jordan Goodwin did all the above that we needed him to do. So I wouldn't mind him starting at all. Samurai Jack said Denny shot is terrible, 2 for 12, 0 for 5 from the 3. Yeah, he struggled tonight, and that's where he needs to work. He needs to work on his offensive side of the game. He is inconsistent on the offensive side of the ball. I think he's improving in some spots, but yeah, it wasn't a good night for him. I thought he struggled tonight. I thought defensively he gave effort for sure. There were just sometimes he just, staying in front of Ja Morant is dang near impossible. So he tried to stop Ja, but Ja was, getting to the basket on him a little bit. But yeah, he struggled. I mean, everybody struggled tonight from the 3, so it wasn't just Denny. But that's one of the things where Denny has to improve just shooting the 3 ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping for a little more progress because he's working with Drew Hanlon in offseason. But yeah, he's got to work on that because that's his biggest negative is his offensive forte. He's got to be more aggressive driving the lane. He's got to finish layups, and he's really got to work on that 3-point shot. But he's already got an elite asset, which is his defense. So we'll see. Chimpozilla Slayer. Yeah, man.
I just call him Chimp.
Oh man, West Unseld cost us that game. He don't have a clue what he's doing. Good on Jordan Goodwin taking his opportunity. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Goodwin, I think that's going to be the biggest comment tonight. Is Goodwin showed out. I mean, that shows the G League is just not purgatory anymore. People can come up and make a difference. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody's saying the same thing. Echoing Samurai John says West has the worst rotations. Freezy says Goodwin played great. He needs to get more minutes. A big fan of KP, but today wasn't his day. Those shots wasn't falling. It obviously is hard to play versus one of the toughest centers. Yeah, Steven Adams, he's an ogre. He's the Aquaman. That's what they call him. He's just a big guy. It's a tough matchup for KP. I do think he could have tried to go to the basket a little bit more, but he definitely did settle for threes. And I feel like he definitely could have got to the basket a little bit more. So we'll probably read one more comment. Oh, what was that? Did you want to read?
I'm looking at the words.
Yeah, you guys are something else with these comments. Yeah, I mean, you West pulling out Rui when he's in rhythm and doesn't allow him to play over 25 minutes for a second year in a row. Yeah, I mean, Rui was playing well. I thought he was cooking. He got in the rhythm. I thought he was knocking down shots. He had an and 1 rebound. So just looking at Rui's individual numbers, let me see how many rebounds he got because I know that's something that we talk about. We want him to rebound the ball more. Excuse me. He had 15 points, 3 rebounds. He still can rebound the ball better. But yeah, he played 22 minutes. So yeah, I definitely feel like he should have played more tonight. Definitely for sure. Ray Ring 01 said Johnny Davis looked really good today though. Good to see. We'll read one more comment, then wrap it up. Brandon, yeah, you can choose whatever comment you want to wrap up with.
Oh, let's get it. Trillo 1. Monte Morris is a bench player. I mean, I'm with you. I think he's a backup point guard. He is what he is. He is what he was in Denver. I think that he is a backup point guard. I totally agree. I think point guard is going to be the emphasis going to the deadline. I do want to see DeLon right here because I think even in the backup role, he's very valuable to his team. But yeah, Monte I thought, man, his lack of ability to drive the lane and his inconsistent shot are issues right now, especially for the starting unit. So I totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he was with the Nuggets. You know, you brought up in the last episode, we try to bring in point guards where other places they're backups or they're 6 men. Dinwiddie was a 6-man combo guard. Monte Morris, you know, he's a backup point guard on a Nuggets team. On a playoff contending team like the Nuggets, he's a backup point guard. And we're not trying to go in on Monte or anything like that. You know, I think he's a great guy. He plays hard. He plays well. He's carved out a good career for him in the league. 2nd round pick out of Iowa State. But, you know, I think he's better suited to be a backup point guard. You know, Wes and Tommy, this is who they evaluated. They want to bring him in to be the starter. And, you know, I feel like guys like DeLon Wright, Jordan Goodwin are better suited to finish games rather than Monte Morris right now at this point. So, I mean, I do want to see more from Monte, but I think what we saw from Jordan Goodwin is like, man, I mean, I wouldn't be if Wes rolls out a starting lineup because he took Denny out the lineup so quick. So, I don't see why he can't do that with other players. So, but you know, we'll see what happens tomorrow night in Charlotte.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So appreciate everybody tuning in tonight. I know it's a little late, so I definitely appreciate that. Not a good day in Washington sports. As you know, the Wiz and the Commanders dropped L's today, but I'm optimistic on Sunday we should bounce back against the Charlotte Hornets. My wife is originally from Charlotte, so I need some bragging rights in the house, man. So help her brother out. So again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen. For your next listen, check out the Locked On Sports Today podcast. The biggest stories of the day, plus instant reactions, big game recaps, and a take of the day. Available on Odyssey app, YouTube, wherever you get your podcast. So again, everybody, check out me and my guy, The Real Ed Oliver, on Twitter and Instagram. Please like and subscribe, and definitely have a good night. And appreciate for you guys for watching tonight. Peace.
Peace.